Hello everyone, welcome to my selected chess channel. Here I share the most exciting new games with you. Today we have a brilliant battle. Hikaru with white against Plouarzel with black. Let's dive in and enjoy the action. Hikaru opens with 1. b3. A low-key but surgical probe. The b-pawn to b3 frees bishop to b2 and whispers, "I'm scouting," setting a calm but dangerous tone. Plouarzel answers 1. Away. Nada. Yui. d5. Plouarzel stakes the center like a captain planting a flag. Blunt, honest, and immediately contesting space. The board smells like a skirmish. Hikaru slides to Utariya. bb2. Bishop to b2 on the long diagonal. A silent sniper now aimed at the heart of the board. Hikaru's setup says, "Watch the long game." Plouarzel jabs to d8. bg4. Bishop from Sate to g4. An aggressive poke at the gone knight, and a tease of a pin. Plouarzel is testing Hikaru's composure already. Hikaru replies, 3. Nf3. The knight walks into the spotlight at f3, bold and slightly cheeky. Hikaru isn't afraid to put pieces where the fight is brewing. Plouarzel doesn't hesitate. 3. Nay. bxf3. Boom. Plouarzel's. Bishop takes on f3, grabbing Hikaru's knight. Early material snatch, dramatic, sharp, and asking for an immediate answer. Hikaru retakes 4. xf3. Hikaru's e-pawn leaps to f3 and swallows that bishop. Material equalized, but the pawn now sits on f3, opening lines and changing kingside texture. Plouarzel develops 4 twarstei. Nt. Nf6. Knight to f6. Sensible and mean. Plouarzel brings another hitter into the middle, eyeing f4 and g4 for future feints. Hikaru shores up 5. g3. A calm fianchetto prep. Hikaru wants bg2, fortress vibes and long diagonal pressure. Cozy on the king side, but ready to explode. Plouarzel responds 5. N1. A6. An efficient pawn step to free his bishop and keep d5 strong. Practical chess, fewer fireworks, more iron discipline. Hikaru develops 6. bg2. Bishop to g2. Joins the b2 bishop's battery. Hikaru's dark square trio now points at the center with intention and patience. Plouarzel places 6. Way. bd6. Bishop to d, central and blunt. Plouarzel says, "I'll contest the center and watch your king side," a classical posture before the clash. Hikaru castles 7. Tort. King tucked to gone. Rook to a1. Hikaru clears the runway for e-file action and keeps the king comfortably behind his pawns. Plouarzel mirrors 7. Tight. I need more wide. King's both safe for now. Two bunkers, two armies breathing in. Everyone's buttoned up, but you feel the tension building. Hikaru centralizes 8-2T. Rion. Rook to Aone, eyes on e-four and the open files. Hikaru lines up like a platoon ready to push into the center. Plouarzel answers 8-Torre. No. Re-8. Rook to 8, symmetric and stubborn. Both sides queue up behind the e-file as if waiting for the referee's whistle. Hikaru charges 9-Torre. D4. Pawns forward into the center. Hikaru raises the tempo and dares Plouarzel to trade or let the center crack open. The field is active. Plouarzel fortifies 9-Torre. Wow. NB to 7. Knight bite to 7, supporting f6 and c5. I've got him. Plouarzel tightens his formation and keeps options flexible for counterplay. Hikaru pushes 10. Four. The f-pawn surges from f3 to f4, an unapologetic kingside shove. Hikaru turns up the heat and signals aggressive intent. Plouarzel replies 10. Throw. Chicks shores up d5 and prepares b5, a quiet, practical move that says, I blunt your spear, then counterstrike. No, not norbar. Hikaru reroutes 11. ND2. Knight bone to d2, a redeployment with purpose. e4 or c4 are in its sights. Hikaru is juggling pieces like a pro. Plouarzel plays 11. Nah. What am I? A6, a prophylactic a6 to keep nb5 away and prepare queenside expansion. Small but meaningful, the kind of detail that wins long fights. Hikaru strikes 12. c4, c2 to c4, opens the queenside and contests the center. Hikaru's creating multiple fronts so Plouarzel can't breathe easy. Plouarzel answers 12. A5. A5 clamps down on b4 and grabs space on the wing. Plouarzel's queenside is waking up, and the two flanks are starting to scream. Hikaru advances 13 tie. c5, pawn to c5 is a wedge, a space grab that cramps Plouarzel's pieces. Hikaru's queenside play now looks like an advancing column. Plouarzel retreats 13. Only. Fight. Bishop back to fight from 6, a defensive redeploy, maybe to reroute or guard key squares. Plouarzel keeps his shape, not panicking. Hikaru nudges 14 ta. A3. A3 prevents incisions, prepares b4, and is a modest but sharp prophylactic. Little moves set up big plans. Plouarzel replies 14 die. And no. b6. b6 tries to undermine c5 and maintain the queenside tension. Plouarzel is building the battlements, ready for a pawn storm. Hikaru storms 15 turret. b4. Pawn b3 to b4, a direct push to pry open files. Hikaru's pressing, forcing choices and testing Plouarzel's resolve. Plouarzel counterpunches 15 tire. Ow. Anir. B5. B6 to B5 locks the structure and clamps the queen side. Pawns crash like shields. Both sides feel the grind. Hikaru repositions 16 times. And in F3, knight returns from D2 to F3, eyeing F5 and keeping tactical options alive. Hikaru's cavalry stays mobile and hungry. Plouarzel plays 16 tire. Iwa? Why? QA7. Queen to 7, coordinating the heavy pieces and supporting the queenside pawns. Plouarzel lines up a measured response. Hikaru leaps 17. F5. Knight to F5 plants a thorn in Plouarzel's position. Central post, tactical pressure, and a statement. Hikaru wants to play for real now. Plouarzel surprises 17th. And now they. Ray6, rook 8 to A6, an unusual lift, perhaps a reposition to the 6th rank or to swing over. Plouarzel is improvising under pressure. Hikaru slides 18. R-bone. Rook A1 to bone, hitting the B-file and supporting B4. Hikaru smells activity and lines up for a queenside breakthrough. Plouarzel rallies, 18. Now and Eve. Fine. Re8. Rook from 8 to 8, Re8, doubling on the A-file and committing to the queenside fight. The board crackles. Both camps brace for blood. Hikaru doesn't blink. 19. BD2. The bishop quietly steps from cone to D2, connecting the rooks, covering C3, and hinting at a BXF5 explosion. Calm before the storm. Plouarzel strikes 19. By. Now. Wonder in me. Ain't it I your Zula? Axe B4, rook pawn on F5 chops, Hikaru's B4 pawn on. First blood on the queen side. Plouarzel wants lines open for his doubled rooks. Hikaru instantly 20. Axe B4, rook pawn from A3 takes back, keeping the file contested. Hikaru says, I'm not letting you own this lane. Now, Anai. Plouarzel goes 20. Ratu. Rook slides to A2, an invasion deep in Hikaru's backyard. It's flashy, it's daring, it screams, I'm here, deal with it. In Hikaru stays IC 21 Adarata. Rawan. Rook from bone to A1, challenging the intruder directly. Hikaru throws the gauntlet. Rook vs Rook showdown. Plouarzel retreats 21. Rate of 4. Rook slides back to afar, keeping pressure, but giving ground. A little swagger, a little hesitation. Hikaru uses the moment 22 tie. BC3, bishop leaps to C3, locking eyes with G7 and covering the board's arteries. Hikaru's bishops now hum like tuned engines. Plouarzel tries 22 Kaiben. K7. Queen creeps to a 7, reinforcing the rooks, staring into Hikaru's space. Plouarzel's queen says, don't forget, I bite too. Why? Hikaru responds 23. RX said 2. Rook takes rook. Hikaru grabs the invader without fear, chopping down Plouarzel's spearhead. Crowd cheers. First major exchange. Plouarzel, of course, 23. And then they more. Nimei. RX2. Rook from A4 takes Hikaru's rook. Balance restored, but Plouarzel's rook is deep and daring, and may be overextended. Hikaru plays 24 to right. QB3. Queen swings to B3, locking onto A2 rook, threatening pressure. It's a cold stare. You better explain why you're here. Plouarzel slides 24. K8. Queen backs to A8, guarding his rook and keeping balance. Pragmatic defense, but not ambitious. Hikaru centralizes 25. Rawani. Rook lifts to A1 again, doubling down on pressure against that stranded A2 rook. Hikaru squeezes like a boa constrictor. Plouarzel mirrors 25 Deraya. Aye. A. Ra3. Rook falls back to A3, admitting Hikaru's control. The invasion fades, the retreat feels shaky. Hikaru punishes 26. QX3. Queen captures the rook. Hikaru's queen swallows Plouarzel's pride piece whole, flipping the momentum in one strike. Plouarzel desperately, 26. I know Mayan. Men. QEXA3. Queen recaptures Hikaru's queen. Material evens out, but the position has shifted. Hikaru dictated the trade. Hikaru coolly 27. RXA3. Rook retakes Plouarzel's queen, walking off with a major prize. Now Hikaru's rook sits tall. Plouarzel looks rattled. Plouarzel retreats 27 to and Dea. Anx F5. Knight from Zevon finally chops Hikaru's F5 knight. He's clawing back, trading muscle for survival. Hikaru replies 28. F5. Pawn captures back on F5. Hikaru rebuilds a strong pawn center and shows no fear. He's steering this ship. Plouarzel plays 28. Nay. Ni8. Knight drops to 8. Passive, cramp, like a soldier shoved into the corner. Commentators sigh. Plouarzel's position feels defensive. Hikaru pressures 29. Resign. Rook jumps to the 7th rank. Classic Hikaru. Invade, dominate, suffocate. The rook is a dagger in Plouarzel's ribs. Plouarzel seeks counterplay, 29. Nildaida. B8. Bishop drifts back to date, trying to defend the camp. But it looks passive, and Hikaru smells blood. Hikaru calmly 30 die. Rate. Rook presses deeper, eyeing 8, squeezing harder. Hikaru plays like a boa, slow, tight, lethal. Plouarzel, answers 30t. I said Plouarzel. A. Kite. King steps up, awkwardly defending the knight. The monarch is exposed and the crowd murmurs, danger ahead. Hikaru seizes 31 tart. E-flower, pawn to e-flower, bold and crisp. Hikaru plants a flag in the center saying, "This space is mine." The tension is palpable. Plouarzel, answers 31 die. Netheril. Ah. NEC 7. Knight crawls back from 8 to 7, trying to get active. But it feels like a retreat disguised as development. Hikaru snaps 32. RX date 8. Rook smashes the bishop on date. Hikaru's not negotiating anymore. He's tearing down Plouarzel's last guardians. Plouarzel must 32. War. K7. King captures the rook, awkwardly standing in the middle of the battlefield. Exposed shaky, like a general holding a sword with no shield. Hikaru presses 33. Power. Pawn from f3 to f4, marching forward, supporting f5 and prepping f5. Hikaru builds a pawn storm that smells like doom. Plouarzel nudges 33. Wow. Take c4, pawn on d5, finally bites Hikaru's e4 pawn, clawing back a little ground. But his king looks nervous. Hikaru replies 34. Piece 4. Bishop calmly retakes on f4. Hikaru's pieces are harmonized, bishops cutting like laser beams. Plouarzel plays 34. No, not an she. Day 7. King shuffles to 7, trying to breathe, but walking straight into crossfire. Commentators shake their heads. This is dangerous. Hikaru strikes 35. Kf2. King steps up to f2, surprisingly active. It's not hiding, it's joining the war, ready to shepherd pawns forward. Plouarzel tries 35. Neo. Ender. In name. Na6. Knight hops to a6, searching for counterplay on 7 or b4 dioring. But it feels too slow for the storm ahead. Hikaru responds 36. BD3. Bishop from e4 to d3, lining up diagonals, squeezing everything. Hikaru's bishops are like snipers covering every angle. Plouarzel pushes 36. Yeah. Anime. G6. A pawn move, desperate air for the king. It weakens dark squares, though, and Hikaru's eyes light up. Hikaru calmly 37. K3. King to e3, marching boldly into the center. Hikaru plays like it's training day. King has a fighting piece, not a scared monarch. Plouarzel goes 37. A5. A pawn jab on the flank trying to distract Hikaru. But the position still feels suffocating. Hikaru 38. K4. King advances to d4, right into the thick of battle. Crowd gasps. Hikaru's king looks like a general leading from the front line. Plouarzel replies 38. Nangayan. NC7. Knight back to 7 again. But it's deja vu. The poor horse keeps dancing in circles while Hikaru marches forward. Hikaru strikes 39. B4. Bishop slides back to F4, again pinning squares, again threatening. The pressure just doesn't let up. Plouarzel plays 39. Aye. And D5. Finally, the knight lands on D5, centralizing. A small victory for Plouarzel, but it may be too late. Hikaru crushes 40A. BXD5. Bishop wipes the knight on D5 instantly. Hikaru doesn't allow resistance to live even for a move. Plouarzel retakes 40. No. I know I won. CXD5. Pawn captures back, but the pawn is blocky and weak. The board is cracked open and Hikaru's pieces are better armed. Hikaru activates 41 Darin. H3. A patient pawn push, creating luft for the king, ensuring no back rank tricks. Hikaru plays both sharp and safe. Plouarzel answers 41. Adieu. K7. King goes back to a 7, dancing in fear, hunted across the dark squares. It's not ruling, it's running. Hikaru pushes 42. G4. Pawn storm continues on the king side. Hikaru's pawns march like tanks, every step suffocating Plouarzel's king further. Plouarzel, 42. Anitoal. HXZ4. Pawn takes G4, trying to slash open files. But it may just give Hikaru new targets. Hikaru coolly 43. HXZ4. Pawn recaptures, and suddenly Hikaru has open lines and passed pawns brewing. The audience feels it. Checkmate is not far away. Plouarzel tries 43. Nah. KD7. The king shuffles to D7, but it's like moving a target, not saving it. The fortress is cracking. Hikaru slams 44. The pawn storms forward. A hammer blows straight at the Black King's chest. The tension skyrockets. Plouarzel captures 44. Wait. GSF5. The pawn takes, but it only rips open lines around his monarch. The crowd knows. This is suicide disguised as defense. Hikaru coolly 45. GSF5. White's pawn snaps back, opening the G-file wide. The audience roars. The king is naked now. Plouarzel stumbles 45. I know B. I'll. K-cheese. The king runs to chicks, but it's a maze with no exit. Every step is deeper into the trap. Hikaru unleashes 46 dive. E6. The e-pawn surges forward like a grenade under the throne. Checkmate is coming. Plouarzel force 46. Offside. FX6. Black takes, but it's a desperate reflex. Hikaru recaptures 47. FXE6. The pawn on e6 is a monster now, a dagger aimed at the king. Plouarzel 47 Tarete. Naran, Dimel, Kon. Naru. KC7. The king staggers back, hunted across the board. Hikaru boldly, 48. KX-5. The white king joins the carnage, devouring the d5 pawn. Gasps! Hikaru's monarch is a warrior. Plouarzel 48. Nananoi. Now. Guide. The king cowers on date, cornered, hopeless. Hikaru advances 49. KD6. The white king marches forward with terrifying calm. The net is closing. Plouarzel 49 Tutari. Wah. Iidrido. Keat. His king is shoved into the cage. Hikaru plays 50 IRO. As Evan. The pawn rises to a 7, a step away from coronation. The arena shakes. Promotion is inevitable. Plouarzel 50. Nihijabdawar. Why KF7. The king clings to life, blocking with his body. Hikaru 51 Tarader. KD7. The white king looms over black's monarch, towering like executioner and victim. Plouarzel 51 Taratan. Idiriya gay. Tawana. KG6. Scrambling sideways, the king breathes one last gasp. Hikaru strikes 52. ATQ. Promotion to queen with check. The crowd erupts. Hikaru has a second queen on the board. Plouarzel 52.I. And Baim.I. Hooray. KJ5. The king staggers to G5, battered and bare. Hikaru 53. Wave. The new queen glides to a 5, slicing off every escape square. Plouarzel 53. Anna. Annie. H4. The king crawls to H4, clinging to the edge of the abyss. Hikaru calmly 54. Go Furi. Check again, merciless. Plouarzel 54. Ah, no. Nine shades race. KKV. The king stumbles further into the corner. The audience groans, it's over. Hikaru finishes with 55. BA5. The bishop crashes in with check. Plouarzel's king is completely trapped. No more moves. And with that, Plouarzel resigns. Hikaru raises his hand, victorious once again, the American #1 showing why he's feared worldwide. The crowd explodes. A masterpiece has just been written on the board. That's the end of today's game. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time watching my video. Don't forget to hit subscribe and support my channel. I'll keep bringing you the best and latest games. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next video.